Hey, what's up guys? Today I'll be doing a review on the Aqua Training Bag Torrent boxing gloves. So stay tuned. Okay guys, so today we have the Aqua Training Bag Torrent boxing gloves. We'll do a close-up weigh-in and review on. Got mine in 16 ounces. It's a Velcro only glove in the gray colorway, and this is one of the newest models of gloves by Aqua Training Bag that they finally have ventured into making their own line of boxing gloves. This is their high-end version of their gloves. They have 3 different models currently, the Torrent being their most expensive. It uses a full genuine matte leather construction. These are made in Pakistan, and you can get it in black or gray like you see here. So an interesting looking glove. Probably the first thing you'll see when you pull these gloves out is the angled strap. Very reminiscent of Rival or even Adidas, what they use on their Adispeed 501 gloves. So they have that, and the matte leather actually looks pretty nice. And you have a kind of a contrasting color with a darker gray over the knuckle area and a lighter gray over the back of the wrist. So 16 ounces there, Aqua Training Bag. Kind of an interesting stitching design throughout the glove. It says ATB over the thumb. The padding on the back of the wrist is about 1 inch. I'd say it's firmer over the exterior of the glove. The inside foam is definitely softer. But again, you have about 1 inch right there with a tricot microfiber liner. The inside of the wrist, on the palm side, I'd say about 1/4 inch on both sides right there, medium density padding. And you also have this interesting kind of I don't even call it a hexagon type shaped pad with these holes, but those holes there don't actually give you any kind of ventilation. They're just purely for looks, because there's a piece of foam on the inside that's about 1/2 inch. So that gives you protection for parrying shots and strikes right there. This little pad right here on that kind of the outer edge of the palm. But the holes really don't do anything. Same thing with this side as well. So you can see the padding goes up to right where the stitching ends right there. Also says ATB on the Velcro strap. You have probably, let's say a smaller grip bar. I wish that was a little bit larger. Some ventilated holes right there on the palm and a nylon attached thumb. To me, they should have went with leather. And they call it multi-layer padding on the inside core of the glove. But to be honest with you, this reminds me more of injected molded foam. It just has more of an IMF look and feel to it, with kind of that rounded, bulbish type shape of the fist compartment, and with just how firm it is. But they say it's multi-layer, but to be honest with you, I feel that this is a molded foam rather than multi-layer. Multi-layer typically has a kind of a little bit more of a softer feel to it typically, and the shape is usually a little bit different than this, but who knows? Without cutting it open, there's really no way to tell. So here they are next to each other. They look pretty futuristic. Kind of an interesting looking glove. Again, 16 ounces. So let's go ahead and put these on the scale, see how much these weigh. Starting off with the right glove. So right glove is at 15.6, so just a hair under 16 ounces, which is good. And the left glove is at 15.6, so they're exactly on weight with each other and just a hair underweight, which is pretty good to see. So let's go ahead and do the review. Hey, what's up guys? Carlo here, and today I'm doing a review on the Aqua Training Bag Torrent boxing gloves. I got mine in the gray colorway, 16 ounces. You can also get this in black and 12 ounces, so 2 different colors and sizes to choose from. It is a Velcro closure only glove. They currently do not offer this in lace up. Now, Aqua Training Bag, they're traditionally known obviously for their water aqua bags, but they've recently ventured off into making boxing gloves as well. They have 3 different models currently. The Torrent that I have here is their most premium model. It is made in Pakistan. It is a full genuine leather, matte leather construction with an angled wrist strap, really similar to what Rival does with their gloves, and even the Adidas Adispeed 501 gloves has a very similar setup. Design-wise, these I'd say are more on a medium size of a glove. They're not overly huge, but they're not super compact as well. What's described on the website is a multi-layer foam core as far as the foam they use on here. But to be honest with you, I feel that these more or less are kind of an injected molded foam. Just by how stiff the foam is right off the bat, typically a multi-layer foam isn't this stiff and doesn't have that same kind of round shape. Molded foam typically all looks the same. If you've ever had a pair of ringside gloves, they typically use a lot of molded foam. Even Ring to Cage, I know, use some molded foam on their gloves. They call them MIM gloves. So every brand has their own name for it, but they all have a very similar shape where it's more rounded off and a lot stiffer when it comes to the padding. Really good for protection, not so much for feedback, but we'll get into that here in a second. So look at the gloves. They have a really kind of futuristic, unique look to it, mainly because of the contrasting colors in the gray, as well as the stitching that they use on the back of the glove. It does say Aqua training bag, that's printed on the back right here to designate the branding. And then you have some stitching towards the back of the glove, which I'm not, typically a big fan of. I do like the fact that they stitched it rather than printed a line across. But with that being said, there's a trade-off with this durability, and typically this stitch will start to kind of pull away at the leather. The good news is that they didn't put it right over the knuckle, so sometimes you'll have gloves where they stitch over the knuckle on the striking surface, which will definitely be a big no-no for sparring gloves. So you have that stitching on there. You can see the contrasting gray being darker here and a little bit lighter right there. The thumb says ATB for Aqua training bag. It says 16 ounces on this wrist strap, and then you can see how it's angled upwards. And the whole premise behind that is to give you a little bit more support higher up on the wrist rather than lower and underneath the hinge point. So you have that leather wrist strap that's halfway across on that. One thing I would have rather seen is that this tapered piece go a little bit higher up. So you can see they had that little foam insert like I showed you guys earlier in the close-up. It would have been nice for this to taper upwards towards that, so you get a higher up support with this wrist strap right here where the palm is at, rather than it kind of cutting lower. So that would have been nice to see. So you have that angled wrist strap. You also have about 1 inch of padding on the back. Again, it's definitely firmer on the outside and softer on the inside, which is nice, so it's a little bit more form-fitting. You also have a Tricot microfiber liner with the tag on the inside that shows where it's made. I'd say about 1/4 inch of medium density padding right here on the wrist on the inside that goes up to right where the thumb seam is at. So that's right there, and then it ends right here for this side. The issue I find with this is that it makes this part of the glove not as supportive, or it kind of gives it a floppiness to it. And you can see right there, it has kind of a bending point. So it would have been nice for this padding to be all the way through into the entire section of this glove, so it's a lot more rigid rather than having it cut off right here where the stitching is at. So you basically have two separate pieces of foam, or in my opinion, maybe it should have been one piece rather than two separate pieces, because now you kind of have that bending floppiness to the glove, which I'm not a big fan of. You'll also notice that it has these little holes right here, so your first assumption is to think that's there for ventilation when it's not. So you can see the holes right there on the inside of the wrist does nothing. It's just for aesthetics. So that's for the same for these two. The only holes that are actually vented out are the ones right here, right next to the grip bar, that are actually poked all the way through. Nothing on the thumb, but just right here on the palm side. The grip bar is a little bit on the small side. Would wish that was a little bit larger. And then you also have an attached thumb that's made of nylon, which again, to me should have been made out of leather than nylon. I mean, you did everything else on the glove is leather, and then you decided to kind of cheap out and go with a nylon strap. That doesn't really make sense to me, but it is what it is. It says 16 ounces ATB right there. So that's pretty much it. Quality of the gloves are pretty good. I mean, the only thing I'd say is the stitching on here could have been done a little better, especially where the thumb meets the index finger. Obviously, the cheaping out of that attached thumb right there, I'm not a fan of. It would have been nice if these holes were actually functional rather than just being kind of like halfway through. The leather actually itself looks pretty good. I like the matte leather material that they use on here. It looks really clean. The piping looks really good. The stitching is all pretty symmetrical, double stitching throughout. Grip bar could have been bigger. You know, stitching right here on the back where the seam of the gloves meet each other. The leather pieces that they use to separate the colors. You can see right there it's kind of pulling a little bit. Velcro is nice quality. Definitely like that. Don't like the fact that there's two separate pieces of foam here. So you can see that the glove is a little bit on the floppy side. Could be a little bit better balance, and it would be a lot more rigid, again, if that was all one piece. You can see a little bit of stitching kind of coming loose on the Velcro right there. Not a huge deal. But I'd say the best feature of this glove is going to be the matte leather, which really looks nice and sharp. But the little details, like the foam piece, this part of the Velcro strap needs to go up higher to give you a little bit more support. Could have been done better. Also the thumb being a little bit on the short side, which I'll tell you guys here in a second when I put my hand into the glove. And also them saying that it's molded multi-layer foam, when I feel that it's more molded foam. And without actually having to physically cut the glove open, there's really no way for me to give you guys 100% confirmation on that. But from all the gloves I've seen in the past and the way these feels, definitely feels more like molded foam. So sliding my hand into the glove, the liner feels excellent. It doesn't bunch up, which I love. Putting this Velcro strap on feels really good. You can see there's a little bit of excess right there, excess Velcro. So it would have been nice maybe if this Velcro extended over just a little bit so that it would close down. And then again, it would have been nice for this piece right here to be up a little bit higher to give you a little bit of support. But the wrist support feels really good. I definitely like that. The hand ergonomics feels on point. Nice deep finger compartment there. Thumb is a little bit short, and you can actually probably see that. It should have been a little bit longer, give you a little bit more room. Being a 16-ounce glove, if you have larger hands, at least larger than mine, you definitely will jam your thumb at the top. The attachment is nice, so it won't poke anybody's eye out. And it's definitely a little bit of a stiffer glove. So take some time to break these in because of the type of foam that they use in here. And that's definitely on the stiffer side, in my opinion. But grip bar is in a perfect position. Again, thumb needs to be a little bit longer. Wrist support feels really good. Liner feels really nice, and just take some time to break in. Protection and performance, these are definitely more of a protective glove. I mean, when you land with these, obviously you know you're landing your shots, but you can't feel it like you would with more of like a multi-layer foam glove or something with horsehair, or when you land on those two front knuckles, you can really feel your punches sinking in. This does a much better job at absorbing shock. So if you're looking for a glove that has better shock absorbing properties, maybe you have some issues with your hands, with your knuckles, and you need something more protective, then these are definitely for you. If you want something that's more of a Mexican style glove, a little bit more broken in feeling, where you can really feel the foams compress, you definitely won't get it with this glove. It's gonna definitely take some time to break in with these. Now cost-wise, these gloves are $129, which to me is a little bit on the high side. I mean, it is full genuine leather construction. I just feel there's a couple of details that need to be kind of sorted out with this glove for them to justify the pricing on these. Obviously cheaping out on the thumb right there. To me, the foam could be better, maybe offer a true multi-layer foam composition, a longer thumb. And at $129, you're really in the price range that's kind of the hot spot when it comes to the boxing glove category right now. There's so many different great models out there that offer excellent quality, full genuine leather construction, different types of foams, more of a broken in feel, more of a customized feel. That, in my opinion, is going to be really hard to compete with those with this glove currently. If they modify the thumb, go all leather right here, offer more colors and sizes, maybe a lace-up version, and just modify the foam and the wrist support, then they're going to be really competing. And again, it's not a bad price point at $129. It's not super expensive. I just feel that at that price point, you could definitely do better than this glove currently. So that's just my opinion. Definitely, hopefully they can take some of that and make a better glove and then compete with the big dogs later down the road. So if you guys have any questions or comments, make sure you guys leave them down below in the comments box. I'll put the link in the description box where you can find these Aqua training bag boxing gloves. See you guys next time. Peace.